Hey there, listener. This is Marco coming to you to introduce Lesson 9 for Miracles in Manhattan. Over the last week, Steph and I took some time to put together a on-ramp summary episode where we're going to go through the first 10 lessons in a very short period of time for people who want to get involved and want to just jump right in. So please tell your friends about that. And you can tell them, too, that this is actually a great episode to listen to here before you because it has got perhaps the most awesome story that we've recorded so far. It's intense, it's funny, and it's useful, spiritual, racy, and a little out of this world. I'll leave it at that. We've also gotten some listener questions, which we're really excited about to start answering. So please send us yours at miraclesinmanhattan@gmail.com. And if you want to engage with us on Twitter, we're at Wild Manhattan. Or if you want to find us anywhere else on the web, just go to miraclesinmanhattan.com and you can find your way to anything and everywhere that we are. So, hey, if you have time and you like this pod, please give us a rating on iTunes, because that's the one that sort of matters for now. But you can listen to us anywhere on just about any app that there is, including Spotify. So give us some love on there, too, so they keep us on it. We're gearing up for the fall and to start bringing you some brand new, fresh content, and we couldn't be more excited. Keep living your okayest life and keep it wavy. Bye now.
I see nothing as it is now. I had a really interesting experience a few nights. It was more than that ago. And I think I mentioned this to you before, and I checked with the gentleman with whom I had this experience, and he said, yeah, it was okay to talk about. I have a flogger. So.
Oh, right. Yeah, this is a good story. Oh, man.
So, it helps to get the blood flowing.
Well done, Stephanie. Well done. You got shy. I was surprised. We can do another.
I'm shy.
Amazingly, because there's no one else here.
Well, I'm imagining 50 million people.
I know. Dear Lord. That's the $100 tier of Patreon that you have to be on to get that one audio clip. The one audio clip. You know, they say that fiction is built on, like, frustration. That if certain things are sort of like, you know, if you resolve the tension between Ross and Rachel, people won't keep watching Friends,
that's
right?
Yeah.
So we have to say that for...
All right. So, lesson 9. Lesson 9 is...
Today's lesson 9.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Miracles in Manhattan. Lesson 9.
I see nothing as it is now.
Fuck me. Fuck me. That should be the sound effect right there. I see nothing as it is now.
Yep. I know, they're so short. They're so infuriating. So this idea, the lesson reads, obviously follows from the two preceding ones. You know, it's just we're doing it again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we need lots of practice. But while you may be able to accept it intellectually, it's unlikely it will mean anything to you as yet. Well, see, again, I think we're getting it.
Right.
I think we're getting it.
Right.
But it says here, in fact, understanding is not necessary at this point. And that's kind of what you asked last time. You're like, what are we supposed to be doing here? And right. I said, well, we're just practicing. You don't really have to understand anything. But anyway, the recognition that we do not understand is a prerequisite for undoing false ideas.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I got that. So an I don't know kind of mind.
Yeah.
Set. I don't. Can you read it again?
Which, just that
Just
bit?
the very first sentence. I see nothing as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I see
How
nothing as
important
it
is
is now.
now in that sentence to you?
I think it's absolutely important.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're just trying to accept that we need to learn something. We don't see anything as it is right now. In other words, in reality. Because
Okay.
now is reality. It's all about the present moment.
How does this differ for you from the very first lesson, which was, if I recall correctly, nothing in this room,
Means
nothing
anything.
that I see in this room means anything?
Um, no, it's not very different. It's just a slightly different angle for it. I mean, I almost think of these as, well, if you didn't quite get it viscerally this way, maybe you'll get it that way, you know?
That's awesome. That makes sense.
And so I think also there are so many, iterations of the same idea, because our mind, our ego is going to be saying, well, wait a second. All right, I'll accept that one, but how about over here? There's a corner I can hide in over here. And
Right.
so it comes at you over there, and it comes at you over there, and it's like Pac-Man or something. Like
Out
we're
of your
eating up
hidey hole.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. I like using the word viscerally, like you just did.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, it says you don't need to practice what you already understand. So yeah. So I've been thinking, well, hey, don't be so insulting. Like I kind of get it. Okay, well maybe that particular lesson is not going to be as helpful, but the more difficult ones that are like, what?
Or maybe by now you're a different person.
Well, this is true too. You know that's true too. But we always need practice anyway.
Yeah.
It says here it's difficult for the untrained mind to believe that what it seems to picture is not there. So yeah, some of us are a bit more trained.
Yeah.
The idea can be quite disturbing and may meet with active resistance in any number of forms. Yet this
Right.
does not preclude applying it. So it's just like just keep going. Don't lose faith. Just keep going. Each small step will clear a little of the darkness away. And understanding will finally come to lighten every corner of the mind that has been cleared of the debris that darkens it.
That's a beautiful thing to say.
Yeah, there's
Huh.
quite a few little nice things like that. So here is the actual exercise for lesson 9, which is I see nothing as it is now. 3 or 4 practice periods are sufficient, and you look around and apply the idea for the day to whatever you see. Remember, it's indiscriminate application and exclude nothing. So, for example, we say to ourselves, we look around and we say, I don't see this ashtray as it is now.
Right.
I don't see this telephone as it is now. I don't see this arm as it is now. We're going to start with things near us, and then we extend the range outward. I don't see that coat rack as it is now. I don't see that face as it is now. So that's it. So you're completely correct. Like it is very similar to the first lesson. It's done in exactly the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me. In that if you are practicing something, no matter what, no matter how well or not well you're doing it, you're going to be a changed person as you go through this. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that your experience of this will be more visceral if you've done the preceding 8 lessons.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like doing scales or something, right? Like if on the violin or something, or the piano or
Okay.
something.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really know because I never
Oh,
learned much.
or all right, or dancing, practicing your steps,
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
or
definitely.
anything like that.
Deutero learning. Gregory Bateson. Okay.
Okay,
Note to self.
whatever you say.
That's the dynamic. Go ahead.
Well, so reading a little more of the text, page 248 and 249. It says here, you see what is not there, you hear what makes no sound. Your manifestations of emotions are the opposite of what the emotions are.
Or the
Woo!
opposite.
Mm.
How do you feel about that? That seems rather
Out of,
particular.
yeah.
I mean, does that mean the inverse of? Or just, what does it mean?
Your manifestations of emotions are the opposite of what the emotions are. So I think it's saying that when you act on your emotions, that that's not wise, that's incorrect. We should observe our emotions and learn from them. So if anger is arising, we shouldn't hit anybody and act out with anger, but observe it with curiosity
That's
and say, what is this teaching me?
That is so
what's
interesting.
disturbing me? And behave in the opposite way from anger. So when you feel anger, you don't lash out in anger.
Yeah, you're a smart woman. Because I actually think that the opposite of anger, in a way, is curiosity. Because anger is ultimately an act of negation of what you don't know. Right? Destroying something you don't know because you don't want to know it. And that's interesting. Okay.
So, yeah, I'd advise dipping into the text at times, or even before, your practice session, or in between. Because there are these little gems that you can just sort of mull over, and it might, it's food for thought.
It's food for thought.
Certain.
Food for experience too. I mean, to just get back on brand for a second. I mean, I'll be on the subway tomorrow and something is going to irritate me. And maybe my goal will be to be curious about it rather than just angry about it.
Right. I went through, I had a really interesting experience. A few nights. Oh, it was more than that ago. And I think I mentioned this to you before, but I checked with the gentleman with whom I had this experience, and he said, yeah, it was okay to talk about. So that guy I'm seeing,
yes,
the African American guy,
yeah,
and I say that very specifically, because it's to do with the experience. So when I get sexy, I like to. I know.
You sound like me. That's like.
What do you mean?
Like unsophisticated, talking about. I don't know.
Hey, unsophisticated. Okay, what should I say?
I don't know. That just sounds like something I would say, thinking it was like just the right. You know who also? Sorry, let me take that all back.
Oh, okay.
You sound like Holden Caulfield, because he actually says that one time.
Maybe that's why it was in my.
That's awesome.
In my subconscious.
He's like, I was feeling sexy one day.
God,
it's
God.
Good. It's good.
Anyway, and so I enjoyed to get warmed up. So that could be dancing, that could be stretching, whatever. I like to get the blood flowing. Okay, so I can't believe I'm going to tell this story.
No, you tell it. And I won't interrupt I'm doing.
No, you can interrupt. It makes me feel better.
Good. So is warming up, that's not like a euphemism for foreplay.
Well, yes and no. It's not a euphemism, but it's literally I like to get the blood flowing.
Okay.
I mean,
got it. Some sexy stretching.
Yeah, it could be, or it could be I've gone out dancing, or it could even.
Oh, I see now.
Literally, kind of get in the blood flow
in the course of the day or the evening or the
or the thing. So in this particular instance, oh my God,
I'll top you. I promise. Me. Whatever you say.
So I have a flogger. So
right. Yeah, this is a good story. Oh man.
So it helps to get the blood flowing if the guy uses it on my back or wherever, thighs, wherever.
For our American audience, a flogger is just it's a whip.
Well, yeah, or like a cat of nine tails for Australians.
I was just going to say that.
You were?
Well,
I'm sorry, was I mansplaining again?
No, you weren't. It's fine. For those of us who enjoy medieval times dinner and tournament, you might also know it as a cat of nine tails. Does yours?
But there's more than nine.
Of course,
it's like
a bunch braided
of, could be, or whatever. Anyway, a bunch of leather bit things.
This episode brought to you by ExtremeRestraints.com.
We need a sponsor. So, so I gave him this flogger, and he wasn't doing it quite as good as he could. It wasn't quite the right style. So I said, hey, give this to me, turn around, and I'll show you. I'll demonstrate on you. So he turns around. He's like, I was like, take your shirt off. He takes his shirt off, and I start flogging this African American guy.
Right.
And he's like, this feels I'm getting some Roots vibes here.
Right. Because you're a white woman whipping a black man.
Yeah.
Just to say that.
I think
that's how you put it to me, sort of. Wow, that's so great. The things we find out ourselves doing.
I'm like, oh fuck, I am so sorry. And I stepped back, and he turned around, and we both laughed. And I was like, you know, I didn't even think of that. He's like, I know, you know, I know you didn't think of it. That's why I was willing to like do it. That's why I was willing.
People have a habit of not thinking.
Yeah, right. And so he's like, go on, do it. I was like, really? Oh my god! Yeah, now I feel. Oh god! Now I was all in it. I was all.
Brilliant.
I was completely thrown out of, well, my own mind, and I was. It was really disorienting, which was great, you know. And
why was it great?
Oh, because it was refreshing, and it was like, okay, now I'm seeing things from a completely different perspective than my own. I'm seeing things, or I have been given the privilege of understanding what it is to be seeing this, experiencing this from his perspective.
That is totally on the money. I think.
It was really cool, and the thing is, it could have turned into the most horrible experience.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he could have turned around and said, "What the fuck are you doing, bitch?" You know, and like walked, and like, I mean, really, it could have had reverberations in his community, my community, you know. But neither of us got stuck in our thoughts of the past. He didn't get stuck in his thoughts of the past, in his stories about black and white and all that narrative, because he understood that this present moment wasn't about that. And he, in that very instant, he forgave me for not understanding his perspective.
Right.
And that's what it's all about. It's about forgiveness from moment to moment.
Right.
That's the miracle that we're talking about in A Course in Miracles. That's the miracle. And it brought us closer. We both understood the other's perspective. There was no harm done. There was only more intimacy.
Right.
There was laughter. There was joy. You know, there was forgiveness. There was love. And it was just such an awesome moment.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And I really, really like the way that I love everything about that story, first of all. I can never hear it too many times. But this is the first time that you've put it in the context of forgiveness, because I don't think you're really talking about that, just that he forgave you for creating such an awkward scene. Such an awkward scene, Stephanie. Reverend Stephanie. But no, it was about I mean, it sounds like, and I wasn't there, but it sounds like everything that came after was a visceral experience of forgiveness, I guess.
Yeah,
you know, that's
absolutely.
how I would write the scene.
Exactly. Exactly. It was dissolving illusions, because everything that each of us brought from the past was not true in that moment. Right.
I mean, and sexuality itself is such a series. It's a play of mirrors, right? Because it's a weird juggling act of image and you know, of imaginings what something should look like and feel like, of fantasy and reality, and you know, what's most overlooked, at least in my experience, communication about you know, about like, what are we about to encounter here, and what are we doing,
what are we experiencing right now in this moment.
There's this guy Dan Savage. He has I think he writes a column on this. You might just Google him. He has some things to say about this stuff. Dan, you're totally welcome on the show, buddy. Okay. It's a great story. We should revisit that every episode.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's it, right? I mean, lesson 9, I see nothing as it is now. So in that moment, we were both able to understand that we saw nothing as it was, and then move into seeing reality and seeing things as it was, and experiencing reality, experiencing true love, you know, which is non-judgment and presence.
Yeah. And I mean, in fact, he was the first person in that scenario to see things not as they were. Right, because you were just seeing them as this is part of a good sexual experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
you, for better or worse, had not seen things in a certain...
maybe.
This is not about like assigning, who did it better.
No.
But he kind of brought the real
But
there.
at the same time, I mean, I wasn't seeing his
right.
experience, which is what I think we talked about in lesson 8, the text on page 248 or so. And that's why I wasn't seeing everything. I was only seeing my side.
Wow.
Which, right?
Yeah.
I was only seeing my side, which meant really nothing significant. I wasn't seeing his side where it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for the first 10 listeners who can provide us with like a candid, comparable experience from that, we will draw a lottery and give like just some kind of swag or something. I don't even know what to promise you yet.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
But bring us your comparable stories. We will not share them unless you want us to. That said, wow, brave of you to mention that, talk about that.
Well, that's what we said we were going to do, right?
Well, yeah, and that's just a taste of what you can get at Miracles in Manhattan.
Yeah,
after
that was
midnight.
A miracle in Manhattan.
Yeah. Sweet. All right, we will see you soon. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.